Hello YouTube and welcome to this new video on Zenless Zone Zero. On today's program we are going through Deadly Assault of version 2.0 and this iteration was somewhat surprising. What wasn't a surprise though was the first boss, who happens to be the newest boss from the 2.2 story, so if you haven't done it yet I highly recommend that you do because that story was full of surprises. Anyway, this also explains why I'm releasing this video now instead of, well, earlier. I needed to finish the story on stream and then I had to do quite a few tries, but I'll get to that part in a bit later. And for you, it's still the beginning of the video, but for me, I'm actually in the middle of writing my script as it helps me remember the key points I want to talk about. And yet, I forgot to talk about the individual buffs that you can select for each boss. And I don't really know where to put this section in regards to what I've already written, so here is the quick rundown. Fiery Assault is for electric attack crit-based agents. Yes, it's that hyper-specific. I mean, attack agents will also benefit from it, albeit a bit less, and this was made for Seed. Let's be honest with this, it was made for Seed because she's uniquely built to be in a dual DPS team, and this buff caters to that. Artful, on the other hand, is the usual physical and anomaly buff, and Harnessing Change is... Honestly, I'm a bit confused about this buff, but I'll dive deeper into it when we talk about the third boss. I promise it will make sense. Let's talk about the Defiler and the teams you might want to use against it. First and foremost, this new boss is weak to electric and physical while being resistant to ice. However, I can throw my Alice and Yanagi team out the window since this boss has that one little line that says it takes 25% less anomaly damage. So what are you left with? For attackers, we have Seed of course, as she was just released and this boss is kind of made for her, but we also have Soldier Zero Ambi and Nekomata, I guess. Well, that last one might not be the best option here, let's be honest, but these are merely the attackers that the boss has weaknesses to. Of course, you can use other attackers, which will be my case, but we'll get into my team in a minute. Let's talk about the stunners first, and in the same line of using electric or physical stunners, we have regular Ambi, Trigger, Chingy, and Pulchra. As usual, Astra is always the best support for crit-based teams, and no, I'm not saying this because she's my wife's wife. She is just the best. But there are others out there a bit more free-to-play friendly, such as Nicole and Lucy. All of the characters mentioned previously can be played together in various combinations of either 2 attackers and a support, 2 attackers and a stunner, or the classic hypercarry team of 1 attacker, 1 stunner, and 1 support. So what did I choose? Well, at this point if you've watched any of my past videos, you probably already know the answer, and if you've guessed my Evelyn team, you win. No idea what you're winning, but hey, a win is a win. The team is composed of Eve, Lighter, and Astra with Fire Assault, though now that I think about it, maybe Harnessing Change would have made more sense. Oh well, too late for that, and I refuse to record new attempts for this iteration of Deadly Assault. More on that later. I only had to retry once, but after figuring out the boss's moveset, it wasn't particularly difficult. Speaking of moves, let's talk about the enemy's details. The summarized version is parry the enemy and knock her down when she's flying to earn stacks of crit damage. 1 stack for 1 parry, 4 stacks for 1 knockdown, 6 stacks total for 30 seconds, and 8% crit damage per stack for a grand total of 48% crit damage. Don't worry, the boss has plenty of parryable attacks, so you will be able to maintain your stacks. For the performance points, you want to cause the impaired status on the boss to earn 2,500 points, and you get another 1,500 points for knocking her down when she starts flying. Once again, don't worry. Causing the impaired status on the boss will occur naturally as you fight. At some point during the fight, the Defiler will back away from you and summon some kind of a giant wave behind her. She will attack 3 times, which obviously you want to dodge that, and that third and last attack will drop a pillar-like blade in the middle of the arena. You want to destroy it as quickly as possible, otherwise your on-field character will die. I repeat, the on-field character will die. It is an instant kill move. But that pillar thingy is somewhat easy to destroy. It reminded me of Agent Bringer's hand thingy mechanic. When you destroy the pillar, it will spawn a barrier that will protect you from the instant kill attack, and, to get back to my point, it will cause the impaired status on the boss. As for knocking the Defiler down, all it requires are a few parries. I believe it might be 3 or 4 attacks that you need to parry, but the real objective is that when you parry, you're actually sending her attacks back to her, and that's what's supposed to knock her down. Or at least, like I said, it's supposed to. But it seems like I failed it towards the start of this fight. However, I got a second chance when she summoned some soldiers that just stand there in a shield wall formation of some sort. They only perform one attack that you have to parry, and then she summons another set of shield wall soldiers that you have to parry once again. This will happen 4 times, so 4 parries and you get the points. Other than that, not much to mention. This boss is relatively aggressive as it will often perform several attacks in a row. Some you will need to dodge, others you will need to parry. Of course, dodging is important if you want to avoid dying, but don't forget that parrying has the added benefit of giving you stacks of crit damage. At the end of the day, we got 24,000 points. We even got 20,000 points just for the damage done, and 4,000 performance points, which wasn't even necessary.
I'm unstoppable!
No means of escape.
This song is dedicated to the world.
Initiating level 1 safety. Nothing slips through my defenses.
Now on to the second boss, one that is a bit more familiar to us, the miasmic fiend Unfathomable. While it has an unfathomably long-ass name, it's still the same as it always was. Weak to physical and ether, but resistant to fire, and more importantly, still favors anomaly teams. So my recommendation will be Alice, Jane Doe, Piper, or Vivian as anomaly characters if you want to use its weaknesses against it. And Yuzuha is now our best support for anomaly teams. That being said, you can use the previously cited support such as Lucy or Nicole with these teams, or even Reina, as she does benefit anomaly teams with her penetration buff. In my case, I chose Alice, Yuzuha and Miyabi with the artful buff, as I'm starting to feel quite comfortable with this team, and this boss only has one specific mechanic that will earn you performance points. That mechanic is the same as it was in previous iterations of this boss in Deadly Assault. At some point, the boss will fly away from you and attack you from a distance. The first attack will splash some miasma on the ground, and the second attack will be an AoE that you need to center on the 5 splashes of miasma. Basically, dodge the first attack, run in the middle of the 5 splashes, wait for the circle to fill up and dodge that attack too. Do note that the second attack will detonate the 5 splashes, so you want to steer clear of these explosions in order to get your 1700 performance points. This whole ordeal will happen 3 times, and after that, the boss will come down and act like a vacuum, sucking everything towards the center of the arena. My only advice is, run. Run, you fools, run for your lives. That's actually literally it. Keep running towards the edge of the arena to stay outside of the attack's radius. Keep running until the attack is over. It does last for a couple of seconds, and then you can just get back to the fight. Speaking of the fight, as you afflict Attribute Anomaly on the boss, you will get stacks of Attribute Anomaly damage, a maximum of 6 stacks of 8% bonus damage each. I didn't feel the need to mention it before because you don't really need to do anything in particular to get that buff, just attack the enemy with your anomaly team. The one thing I could mention if you're not familiar with miasma enemies is that at some point they get a miasma shield, and to break it efficiently you want to parry the enemy. Other than that, perform your rotation, dodge and parry as usual. All of this allowed me to achieve a decent but not extravagant 22,000 points.
Excellent. My blade is for the time field name. I will never lose. Your weakness. Careful, don't get scared. There's no time to lose. Weakling. Clear your mind. I got this time for a surprise! Victory, the only option. Strike in an instant. Over. No time to do it. Your luck's run out. Go, Kama! I see it. No room for mercy. I see your weakness. You can't run. Shadowless blade. It's too late to back down now. It's time to settle this.
And now for the third and final boss. I don't know if my mic picked up my sigh, or maybe the tone of my voice will clue you in as to the fact that this last boss made me suffer a lot. The worst part is, we all know him. Well, usually I'd say we all love him, but I can't say this is my case, not after all the retries I've had to do because of him. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to our dear enemy, the Miasma Priest. This boss hasn't changed in the sense that he still dislikes anomaly teams and favors crit-based ones. He still hasn't changed in the sense that you get performance points by performing 3 consecutive parries within 3 seconds. So what changed? Maybe his attack pattern, because there were some strange things that I noticed while fighting it, but no, that doesn't seem to have been my problem because I learned his attacks, I dodged them, I parried the shit out of them. It seems that what we got was a bit of HP inflation going around, and I only noticed it on this boss. That being said, I am not the only one who noticed it. I've seen it on some Reddit posts, and a viewer of mine who often tries for 65k points in Deadly Assault mentioned it to me on Discord as well. From what I've read online, it seems that HP inflation has always been a thing in ZZZ, though it didn't seem to be this much in previous iterations. I personally had not noticed it until now because I probably thought that my builds were shit as I was just in the process of building my characters. Nowadays, however, I do feel like my characters are pretty decent. I wouldn't say I have the best builds in the community, far from it. I am not delusional, but I thought it was enough, especially since I had cleared this boss previously without too much trouble. Another thing that hurt my runs is the lack of a buff for my team, which reminds me, I should mention what you're watching. I'm using an Yixuan team with Yinhu and Fufu, the same team I've used every single time since this boss has appeared, as this is the team he was made for. But to get back to what I was saying about the buffs, the gist of it is that Fire Assault is meant for Seed and the first boss, Artful is meant for Alice and the second boss, so it stands to reason that Harnessing Change would be meant for Yixuan and the third boss. Right? Right? Well, not quite, as it does give an ultimate damage bonus and a stronger multiplier during the stun window, but as strange as it may seem, instead of giving some kind of HP bonus, it gives attack. I guess maybe attack isn't completely useless on Yixuan. I mean, it's one step away from being completely useless because she's an HP scaler, so why? Why HoYoVerse? Anyway, I retried for about a combined time of 4 or 5 hours over the past couple of days. So let's just say that I've had enough of this dude, and I'll be honest, I gave up. I'm kinda spoiling the end of this fight, but I managed to go from a tiny 15,000 points to almost 19,000 points, so I am actually quite close to getting that third S rank. But yeah, nah, I'm tired, boss. I still believe that an Yixuan team should still work even at M0 like mine, and that my issue is probably my build not being strong enough anymore. That or my rotation is off, though that wouldn't really make any sense since neither my build nor my rotation have changed since the last time I've faced this boss. Oh right, I should mention some alternative teams here. Kinda forgot about that while ranting. So in terms of crit-based attackers with the Ether attribute, we only have Zhu, so we are pretty limited. However, I have demonstrated that you don't always need to use the enemy's weaknesses against them, and sometimes you can even use an attribute to which the boss is resistant. So depending on what you have left from the other two bosses, I'd say that any attacker with a stunner and a support should be able to clear this. There is one thing I'll mention because I noticed it particularly with the priest's fight, which is that sometimes it feels like my parries are on point, but weirdly enough the parry doesn't seem to register and the game just switches my characters. Then I either eat the hit or it somehow miraculously misses. I don't really have an explanation for it, but it mostly happened when the priest was doing his triple parryable attacks while flying. During that phase, the camera angles can be somewhat weird depending on where you happen to be in the arena, and maybe that explains it, but I'm not really sure. It is quite annoying though, as missing a parry takes away from the opportunity of getting some performance points, and our Lord and Savior RNGesus knows I need those damn points. But one very important fact remains that getting 3 S ranks is not mandatory. You are not missing out on much if that's the case. 6 stars is enough to get all the polychromes, so you don't need to sweat it like I did. I am just somewhat stubborn and maybe a bit prideful too. Oh well, I'll be content with my 8 stars for this iteration, I suppose. Anyway, on to the build section of the video, and for that, I shall hide myself. And that was my clear of Zenless Zone Zero's Deadly Assault of Patch 2.2. If you found this video enjoyable or helpful in any way, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel as it helps keep the happy in Happy Owl TV. You can also leave a comment on how I could improve my runs or rotations, or share how you cleared your Deadly Assault. If you want more story-related content, I livestream on both Twitch and YouTube every Wednesday, Thursday and Friday at 6 PM Central European Summer Time, and every Saturday at 4 PM Central European Summer Time. On that note, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video or the next livestream.